I want to be clear that there's a big difference between someone getting results and us showing results. The question is, does the customer know what results they're getting? And is that validated to them? That's where the real value comes into play. And as a matter of fact, if you do the research, you'll see that showing results over time is the number one way to retain a customer in the fitness industry. So I think from that standpoint, InBody has been a tremendous tool for us. It's motivating people to want to show up for the session, which is step one. You need people in front of you to have the ability to help them get results and have a customer and generate revenue, right? And it's keeping the customer, which is showing results over time.
Welcome to Beyond the Scale. I'm your host, Bradley Davie. This podcast exists to educate and empower the next generation of healthcare providers. We're here to share powerful tips, tricks, tools, and resources for your growth with InBody's ecosystem of health assessment tools. Today, we're going to talk about how body composition is applied in fitness and nutrition, and our guest is Jon Baraglia. Jon has over 25 years of experience in various fitness leadership roles, with a deep passion for changing lives, making exercise fun, and creating motivating environments for fitness professionals. He's most proud of the world-class fitness programs they've developed at Fitness Formula Clubs, rooted in education and growth for our fitness professionals. Welcome to Beyond the Scale, Jon. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Bradley.
So take me back. Where did you develop your philosophy and your passion for fitness, and how did you get to where you are today?
I started in fitness and got passionate about fitness from my dad, who got motivated with the Rocky movie that came out in, God, I think it was 77. And so he bought fitness equipment at the house, and I started using the fitness equipment and working out, and fell in love with the benefits of fitness and how it made me feel. And that's how I started. And then I got interested. I wanted to work with athletes. And then in college, got certified and started in commercial fitness in the late 90s and have been there ever since.
That's cool. I can picture you going into a workout with the Rocky theme song on, just like rooted in that passion.
Absolutely. I think it's still on one of my playlists.
Tell me more about what you guys got going on now with your clubs. I know you've got several of those, and what kind of products, services do you offer?
Sure. Fitness Formula Club operates 10 facilities in the Chicagoland area. We're full service facilities. We have usually in each club 4 studios, a mind body studio, main studio, spin studio, Pilates studio. We offer personal training. We have registered dietitians on staff, full service spas, and our clubs are approximately 60,000 square feet. So they're big full service facilities. And you know, one of our strategies in general as an organization is to add as much value to our memberships as possible. So we, InBody fits perfect into our strategy, where we just want to give our clients more, give our members more, and give them more opportunity to reach their fitness goals and see change over time. As it relates specifically to fitness, our focus has always been on education. We've built a world-class fitness organization rooted in education and growth for our personal trainers. And I'll give you an example. When trainers come on board at Fitness Formula Clubs, we have a week-long onboarding course that's actually credentialed with 2 major certification organizations, ACE and NASM. And trainers will receive all their CEC, CEU requirements for 2 years going through that in-house education. It took a lot of time to make that happen and a big investment, but that's where we're at today. And trainers are real appreciative of that opportunity, not only to learn and grow, but obviously to have an education track that's going to help them level up in their career, provide more to their customers, build their confidence, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing that I'll just brag about for a little bit is we're also the premier provider of education and certifications in Chicago. We typically host a certification a month, anything from we have pain-free performance coming up next weekend, stick mobility, strong first, USA weightlifting, all those different relevant educations and certifications that are happening that our trainers need to help give our customers more to enhance the experience they're able to provide to them. So we put our money where our mouth is. Again, education has to be the focus for personal trainers to help them better get results with their clients and build value.
Are those trainings listed anywhere if anybody in and around Chicago wanted to see a list of what you've got going on and possibly participate in any of those?
Yeah, great question. We actually put all of our education up on our website. And also all of this is available to the public as well, usually when these certifications come in. Although we give priority to our employees, it is open to the public. And you get a great mix of people and a great camaraderie of fitness professionals across all different types of facilities.
What first inspired you to want to think about bringing body composition into the clubs?
I would say a couple different factors. I think one is there's certainly a value to motivating people to want to show up for that first experience, right? I think a lot of facilities struggle. How do I get my new customers in front of one of our fitness professionals? And I think when you can talk about and get someone excited about what InBody has to offer, which is way more, as you know, way more than just a body fat analysis. It's really a starting point. It's a validation. And then something that's really, really important to me, which is your ability to be able to show change over time. And I want to be clear, there's a big difference between someone getting results and us showing results. And the difference is, I bet I can say, a blanket statement about all of our fitness professionals who work for us that if they have a client working with them once or twice a week or more, and they develop a program over a month's period of time, I guarantee you they will get results. The question is, does the customer know what results they're getting? And is that validated to them? That's where the real value comes into play. And as a matter of fact, if you do the research, you'll see that showing results over time is the number one way to retain a customer in the fitness industry. So I think from that standpoint, InBody has been a tremendous tool for us. So it's motivating people to want to show up for the session, which is step one. You need people in front of you to have the ability to help them get results and have a customer and generate revenue, right? And it's keeping the customer, which is showing results over time. So those are two big reasons why we wanted to invest in the InBody unit.
And you also mentioned to me that you have a nutrition program too, where this would fit well into, where it can help bridge that gap between fitness and nutrition and the dietitians that you have on staff.
Sometimes there's a stereotype with people working with a registered dietitian that it's either focused on weight loss or maybe an eating disorder or disease. When in fact, what our registered dietitians do with the InBody unit now, which is a way more advanced tool than we were using to chart progress, just a basic body fat and scale weight. Now they have the ability to look at things like skeletal muscle mass and how their eating and either involvement or lack of involvement in exercise is changing or influencing skeletal muscle mass as well, and other factors, as you know. So it's actually been a great transition to go from the conversation about what are you eating to the conversation about how are you exercising or what are you doing in the gym, and making an introduction to a personal trainer to help continue that process.
The InBody's been a pretty big investment across all of your clubs. Can you tell me more about what went into the decision-making process for you to choose InBody?
Yeah, well, it's funny, I've been in the industry for just over 25 years, and I've seen so many different technology tools come in and out of facilities that I've worked in and other facilities. And InBody's been a staple, certainly in the industry for a lot of years. It's tried and true. And we did a test. We brought an InBody in a couple years ago and had it into a club for 3 months and looked at what was member reaction from it, what was employee reaction from it, maybe more importantly, right? Because we need the buy-in of our employees if we're going to use the device the right way, and then be able to enhance the experience of our members. And we also wanted to look at hard data. What changes, what metrics were influenced with the use of the InBody? And we saw, two significant factors, which I spoke about earlier. One is what it did for conversion. So people who took an InBody and then either made a decision or not to continue with that fitness professional. So we saw a significant change in conversion, and maybe we can talk a little bit more about that later. And the other thing is the customers wanting to retest after their initial test showed us that there was a lot of interest there, and it actually helped drive retention because the customer wanted to make a difference. One thing that's amazing is no matter what your client's goal is, we have clients with a whole spectrum of different goals, whether it's weight loss or muscle gain or just wanting to be able to move better or feel better, that regardless of that, everybody is really competitive. And when you show someone a data point that they can influence change, people really want to go after it and make a difference. And so anyway, we saw that just in a short amount of time. And we thought, man, this is going to be a great investment. And so, we ended up getting an InBody across all 10 locations a couple months ago. We started with an InBody at 3 locations about a year ago, and then all clubs a couple months ago. And the transition has been fantastic.
One of the things that we like to talk about when you bring in a new piece of equipment is really getting that awareness and buy-in from the employees in there across the board so everybody's aware. So I think it was a great idea that you sought that sentiment from them. And you told me before that when you brought the InBodies in, you did like an InBody challenge perhaps, or with your teams where they were able to experience the device and see the change. And can you tell me more about that experience and how it helped the development of the InBody as a tool in the business where they were testing themselves?
When you're making a big investment like this in a tool, you can't just put this InBody device on the workout floor and have the mentality, build it and they will come. It doesn't work like that. It's I'll tell you something that's amazing even today. So again, we've had clubs that have had the InBody for a year. I'm in these clubs every week, and I will strike up conversations with a member, and it will lead into a conversation where, man, this member would be a perfect candidate to get on the InBody machine. And I'll mention it. Hey, have you had a test on the InBody? And they'll say, what's the InBody? Now, we've sent 27 emails to that member. We have the InBodies up on our digital display screens in the clubs. We have banners with the InBody everywhere, and people just don't know. They're oblivious, and it's a cautionary tale that even when you think you're communicating effectively to your staff and your members, you have to just up it another level to make sure that there's awareness around what you have available and the value that you're offering. So knowing this going into the InBody rollout, the first thing we did is we did a all company, all employee hype around the InBody. So we had conference calls, we had in-person meetings about why we were doing this, what the value is going to be for our organization, for our fitness professionals, for our registered, everybody involved, and most importantly for our members. Then we did an in-person training on the device. And this is after we required that all of our employees that are going to be involved with InBody and all of our management went through the online InBody training, which is extensive. So they had to get a certificate, show us that they passed, to be able to come and use the machine and come to the in-person training. And then we did this whirlwind tour where we went to every club with Drew came out and helped us with the training from InBody. And then after we were done with all the education and started the member communication about what we were now offering, now that our staff was all trained up, we ran a all company employee challenge with the InBody to see who could make the biggest change in their InBody score. So we had a lot of fun around it, and we actually gave not only did we do the employee, how much can you change your InBody score, we also did the club that did the most assessments as a percent of their membership base. And we gave the top club a hand dynamometer, which InBody offers, and it's part of, you can integrate it into the test and data results. So we had so much fun with both of those contests and so much hype around it. And now what we do, because now the question is, great, you launched it, you did all this marketing, you did all this hype, you can't stop there. So every week we have a conference call with our fitness team, and we talk about how many assessments have you done this week? What great best practices do you have? What great results stories can you share? And we are going to keep this going and integrate this properly into our organization. Right now, we're doing about 200 assessments on a monthly basis. On average per club. And, we have different size clubs, but on average, it's about 200 a month. And we're just trying to drive that up. We have a goal of getting to 250 assessments average per month. Now, keep in mind, that's a combination of new customers coming in and testing for the first time. And that's current customers that we're typically suggesting that they test every month to be able to see some progress over time. During our assessment contest, we had some team members that throughout the week would take the InBody unit and place it either next to the front desk or a high traffic area in the club and stand there, next to the machine for an hour, 2 hours, and just ask everybody, have you had an InBody test? Have you had an InBody test? And here's why you want to do it. And we would just be connecting with people left and right. It's such an amazing tool, but you have to be able to get exposure with it to get the real value behind it. So then what tends to happen is after that hype period or after the contest is over, the InBody goes back in a corner, and I'm exaggerating. We do not have the InBody in a corner in any club. It's typically next to our fitness desk. But essentially, it goes out of sight, out of mind. And so our focus right now is how do we keep it front and center every week? So we've challenged every club that every week they have to have an event around the InBody.
I love that you're actually moving it around the club. I think that's a great strategy we talk about all the time. It's a great way to engage your community, whether you take it outside of the gym and you find a place where it's a corporation or, a different entity that will pay you to show up and do the tests, or it's some type of an event or a fair where you can bring the InBody, but no one's to say you can't just move it around in your facility like you're doing and get some more exposure out of it in higher traffic areas. I think that's fantastic. I wanted to highlight a couple things that you did say. One was our InBody Academy. That's like a 30, 40-minute course that we have that covers everything from how to prepare to run a test, run the test, understand the result sheet, and then we leave you with a bunch of other resources you can download to continue to learn. And great that you used it for your staff now, and you could even continue to use it if you ever hire a new training staff. Then they could use that in part of their onboarding process as well, where you get unlimited subscriptions to that for the life of your InBody. And then the other tool you mentioned was our InGrip, which is a hand strength dynamometer, and it does integrate directly with the body composition analyzer. So once the test is done, you grab the dynamometer, you squeeze it, and it's going to tell us how many pounds of strength you have in your right and your left hand, and that can go on the result sheet as well with that.
I'll also share that we made the decision as an organization that InBody use is free to all of our members. So anybody at any point can go up and use the InBody and or flag down an employee to help them with the process. And, I just want to stress that the real value of the InBody is getting as many people exposed to it as possible and getting them to understand what those results mean to them. And that doesn't mean explain everything on the sheet all the time to them. It means figuring out what change they want to make over time and helping them pinpoint that in the results and see some key metric change over time. So we are gearing up for a big company-wide challenge that we're excited for. And I would just stress, going back to what we talked about earlier with implementation as rollout, is it's so important that the staff understands the big picture behind why we're using this tool and getting this device. And our big picture was to be able to add more value to our member experience, whether they're working with a fitness professional or not. And the other big piece to that was to help have a motivation tool or a bridge for new members coming on board to get in front of our fitness professionals. And I can't tell you how valuable it's been that a customer that never had any interest in working with a fitness professional or really didn't want any validation about where they were currently at right now, what their state of health was. But after they were motivated to get on the InBody and their eyes were opened up about, number one, maybe what their opportunities were, taking a look at their results. Maybe they thought that they were in a better position than they were. And this is validation that, look, here's where you're at, good or bad. This is your starting point. It's okay. It doesn't matter. Here's your starting point. Our goal is to get some change over time in your life for the better. So it's been great to add value overall, and it's been great for our fitness professionals to build relationships that they may not normally have had an opportunity to. And a lot of that has helped convert into a paid customer and keep a paid customer.
When a lot of people make investments for their business, they oftentimes think about like the direct return on investment that comes from it. And what you've said is we're not going to ask for any direct return on investment. And the return you're seeing is a bigger secondary or indirect return on the conversion that you're seeing in the relationships that you're building through this tool. Tell me more about what that's been like since you brought the InBodies in. How has that helped your conversions?
I think you can look at this a couple different ways. First, let's start with the membership base. I think it may never be just one thing you add into your clubs, but when you're adding lots of value over time, I think it's actually helped membership acquisition and retention when we're able to tour our members around our club and introduce the InBody, and even on tour, get people onto the InBody. It's been great to see how excited members get. And they're like, wow, this is such a cool tool. And I get access to this when I join the club. And we're like, absolutely. And, we can have someone help you interpret your results and show you progress over time. So we knew that was going to be part of the value of why we wanted to invest in this. But we also knew what it was going to be able to help our trainers with to create value in their sessions and have better conversion. And so I'll share with you that our conversion from a new member integrating into our health clubs and purchasing a fitness product increased by, depending on the month, 40 to 50%. That's a huge jump in conversion. So we've seen a direct positive effect in revenue. And the other thing is that's helping employee retention. And as I'm sure a lot of people in this industry know, it's getting tougher and tougher to keep great fitness talent. So this has really helped trainers make money and feel better about what they're doing and validate that the programming they're doing with clients is actually yielding results. So, it has helped revenue. It has helped memberships. It's helped morale, and it's helped employee retention too. I mean, there's been a lot of benefits. A member who I've known for many, many years at one of our club locations, and he's a hockey player. He's in really good shape. And he had a ACL tear about a year ago, and he's been rehabbing ever since. And I see him in the clubs all the time, and he's working so hard. And it's funny because he's probably working harder on his right leg, his injured leg, than he has on his left leg. But he's motivated. And so anyway, one day we're just chatting in the club a couple months ago. And this is a location that we've had the InBody for quite some time. It had probably been there for about 7 months. And he said to me, he goes, I said, how's the knee and how's your performance? And he goes, I feel pretty good, but I just feel that my right leg is weaker than my left leg. Now, I'm watching him go through his performance workouts, and he looks fantastic. And everything he's doing with his left leg, he's doing with his right leg, the injured leg. It looks great. And if you're looking at this member, the muscle mass in the right and left leg look symmetric. Everything looks good. And so I said, well, what we can do is we can get you on an InBody, and we can look at your segmented lean muscle mass in your right leg and your left leg. And first he said, what's an InBody? And so then I was like, man, we have to do a better job at communicating and marketing. But again, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. So he gets on the InBody, he takes an InBody test, and his injured leg, his right leg that he's been rehabbing, comes back with slightly more muscle mass than was in his left leg. And it was amazing because he had this mental block about, I'm damaged in my right leg. I'm weaker in my right leg. And he came out of the InBody test like, that's not true anymore. I've been working so hard. I'm back, and I have balance and symmetry and strength in this leg. And it was such a great barrier for him to get past. And so, sometimes we look at InBody as, it's just about body fat and weight loss, but there's so much great information to help so many different people, no matter what their goals are. And that was just sort of an eye-opening experience to me about how great a tool it can be for so many different people.
Can you tell me, what are you excited about for the future of InBody in your programs? Where haven't you implemented it yet that you've got some goals to try it out and see how it impacts your business?
Well, we're certainly excited about running continual all member challenges around the data. That's something that we have coming up, as we talked about. I'm also excited of the opportunity with corporate relationships and what we call well-fit partnerships to be able to take the InBody unit out of our clubs and bring to a company and do assessments on site and motivate people to want to make a difference and come into the clubs and become members and become clients. And I think there's a big opportunity there. I would also say we have physical therapy in our clubs, and I think there's probably an opportunity to work closer with our physical therapists. Again, we're early in the relationship. There's a lot of ideas we have and a lot of opportunities to use InBody as a great tool to continue to build value and get people into our clubs and get people results.
Going to other organizations, I think, is a great idea, especially if you already have those relationships. And frankly, any member that you have could possibly be a introduction to a corporation that could, find value from bringing in the InBody. And the InBody challenge or the transformation challenge that you've developed internally in the clubs could also be a plug and play solution that you can bring to corporations and have the same type of challenge structure where you show up day one and you test everybody in, and then 2-3 months later you test everybody out and you show them the progress and you reward the people that have had the best change. We've seen a lot of people that create kind of a business in a box, if you will, that they can then take outside and be able to scale that, and then it's sending more members back into the club that want to actually yield the results that they're to win the challenge that they're entered in. So good luck with that. I hope it works out for you.
Thank you.
Zooming out a little bit, can you tell me a little bit more about what you're excited about for the future of fitness and wellness altogether?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we're really excited about is we've been rolling out recovery centers across our facilities. And it's probably our members' happiest place. It's great to walk into a recovery center and ask anybody, how you feeling right now? And they're like, this is amazing. We have massage chairs and compression boots and a cryo chair and all the vibration and percussion tools, some red light therapy that we're introducing now. But man, it's really been a great addition to our clubs. It's been highly requested. And again, I think the industry focusing more on the recovery aspect. I think a lot of times if anything, we're overtraining and not allowing enough time for recovery. We're overstressed, we're overtraining, we're overworking, and it's good to give people the time to recover and also the mental component of that, right? Give them the physical recovery and the mental recovery. So I'm really excited about how that's changing the industry right now for the clubs that are including that in their membership. We've put a tremendous amount of effort and strategy into the launch and rollout of InBody, that this is just the beginning of the work associated with getting value out of a tool like this. We are not going to take our foot off the gas in terms of communicating that we have this tool and this value, educating our employees. Like you said, everybody who comes on has to go through the InBody Academy. We're stressing that, we're making that a requirement, and we're not going to stop putting out challenges to keep InBody out front to our members. So this is just the beginning. It's not the end. It's not over. The rollout isn't over. The rollout has to continue every week, every month, to really get the true value out of this great tool.
Thank you so much for joining me, Jon. I love that you've shared so much wisdom with our audience. And if somebody wanted to connect with you directly and maybe learn more, connect and chat about what they've got going on, or learn more about what you've going on, how could they connect with you?
They can certainly reach out and email me. The best way to contact me is at jbaraglia@ffc.com. That's JBARAGLIA@ffc.com.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jon. Have a great day.
Bradley, thanks for having me.